country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Yeah. If Chappelle moved to Ghana to find his peace in a rolling, where the service always roaming, I'm packing my bags and going. It's a challenging act, it's a balancing act. Visit beautiful places, it's more out here than the trap. Houses in Long Island, they always found him. House in the South, a nigga barely got out. Sunny LA, remember calls with Dr. Dre. He told me, don't let the palm trees fool you, nigga, be safe. Me and my higher self, we often would speak. Somehow we lost the connection, might meet a Joshua tree. And it's been bothering me. Too many wavy women, gotta log out of IG. Can't be my ace DMing, no kidding. It's hard to move like a civilian. I write the truth cause I live it, not like you musical niggas. We did it big and they bigots. They rather shoot than write tickets. What it feel like to go get it, what it feel like to go miss it. In one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody. My dog bought a plane, said let's go to Paris. That's where baguettes are from, French bread that's long and narrow. I like the other definition, rectangular carrots. The concept of the song is rather esoteric. This girl said in Grenada we should go get married. Broke the meaning down of the Virgin Mary. And you got your own place. My favorite part of the night when you text me that you made it home safe. I'm contemplating at the home base how I'm used to breakfast in the ghetto sipping OJ. That's a picture right there, a moment in time. Before anybody wanted a photo of mine. Before the internet energy and social decline destroyed the vibe, fooling us with the headlines, keeping us blind. Vultures eat you alive. Take heed to the signs. Wishing I find one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody.
All my time is spent focused on my freedom now. Why would I join them when I know that I can beat them now? They put their words on me and they can eat them now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. They tried to box me out while taking what they want from me. I spent too many years living too uncomfortably, making room for people who didn't like the labor but wanted the spoils, greedy, selfish behavior. Now let me give it to you balanced and with clarity. I don't need to turn myself into a parody. I don't do the shit you do for popularity. They clearly didn't understand when I said I get out apparently. My awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all complaining about my lateness. Now it's illegal for someone to walk in greatness. They want the same, but they don't take risks. Now the world will get to see its own reflection, and the anointed can pursue their own direction. And if you're wrong and you're too proud to hear correction, walk into the hole you dug yourself, fuck a projection. See me in my freedom taking all my land back. They said a lot against me thinking I just stand back. I got my legs beneath me, I got my hands back. A lot of people sabotaged, they couldn't stand that. I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world cause you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, did you dig for them, you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands, but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with. Pride and ego over love and truth is fuck reckless. Y'all niggas got a death wish, the stupid leaves me breathless.
Some place to be. Yeah, ain't ducking nothing. Just might have to build my own city where y'all need a real nigga passport to enter. Miss Hill, we ain't going nowhere. They gonna have to deal with us. Make them uncomfortable. Yeah.
Alright, how's it going, people? Night work. I'm not sure if this is going to be a thing, but it's going to be a thing this evening. So hopefully you guys are doing all right. This is going to be short, to be honest with you, because there's just a few things I kind of want to go over, and I'll take you guys' temperature. We'll see what's what, and then we'll move on and maybe there'll be a stream later on in the week or something like that, because I think I've put up the last video for the week, maybe, and then I'll pick up my recording schedule next week. So, what's up to all of you guys? Let's see here. I was going to talk to you guys about the Tyson Fury fight, but I haven't actually seen it yet. I know how it ends, which a lot of people kind of assumed it was going to end that way anyway, given how Wilder kept coming up with all of his fucking excuses. So, rip to that. But, so that's something that we'll talk about, I guess, on the next stream. DSP has a bunch of nonsense going on. I'm still kind of playing catch up on that. I have seen some of the leaks. Or the Twitch leaks especially. The Twitch leaks, as we'll talk about that further another time, I suppose. But the biggest thing that hasn't been released yet, just in case you guys don't know, because the guy who actually released the leaks, the hacker, I should say, says that he has a whole bunch more that he's going to drop. He has like DM conversations that he's about to drop. I think that's interesting, to be honest. There is also there's correspondence between Twitch, allegedly, between Twitch staff or administration to actual partners. And I don't know how true that is or not either, but the person who told me is a pretty good source. They're keeping up with that bullshit, so I would assume if that's a thing. If that is a thing, if that is a situation, then, and if that does drop, if that's true, I should say, then, and that might get dropped with the DMs for all we know. But if that does happen, we can find out who Phil's, or DSP, whatever, the pig Hitler himself. We'll find out exactly who his partner was, his partner manager, and we might actually even find out some of the conversations that they actually had, if that's true. So that's some of the things that I'm kind of looking forward to if and when all of that drops. Amongst other things, too, because, you know, like that situation where Amaran's going on, if any of you guys are keeping up, she got banned off of Twitch, she got banned off of TikTok, and she got banned off of Instagram. We have no clue what's going on with that. I like to think it's Hassan, but it doesn't matter. Hassan's was overseeing all of it anyway. So even if he wasn't directly working with Phil or watching over him, he at least has input. He has say so on what was going on, for sure. But the Amaranth thing will be interesting. What happened to Dr. Disrespect will be interesting, because there's definitely going to be some paperwork or some type of trail that'll talk about that. So those are some of the things that you guys should try to look for or consider looking forward to when some of that stuff drops, if any of that ever drops. So that's something I'm kind of paying attention to. One of the main reasons, though, to be honest, that I'm doing this stream is coming off of the Low Tier God Wings of Redemption interview. Did anybody actually catch that? Yes, I will go over the bank statements as well. I most certainly will do that. I've been told by a good source, a very good source, that there was actually like 10 hours worth of recording or something crazy like that. So what you guys heard was just a snippet of what's actually out there, which, thank God for Piece of Peace, because that's essentially what he's working through. So that it's kind of silly to see how that works out. So, but yeah, I hear there's something like 8 to 10 hours worth of shit. I think they were able to get DSP's information going back to like 2020 or even 2019, maybe something crazy. I don't know. Something crazy. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. I essentially want to go over the whole stream itself in its entirety when it's released. Essentially, it was nothing more. I wouldn't say nothing more. It was a therapy session more than anything. And sadly, Wings I don't think, this is just me being me, I don't think Wings is going to change. Because some of the stuff that was literally told to him, some of the stuff that was told to Wings has been told to him before, mainly by some of his haters or trolls themselves. So I don't know what exactly is expected to come out of that. For people like Wings of Redemption, a plan is just a list of things that'll probably never get done, essentially. Wings is in a very comfortable place, believe it or not, when you think about his life situation. Now, I understand that Kelly's sick a little bit, or she's been under the weather, or she has, maybe it's related to cancer or whatnot. I'm not really sure what the details are. But I understand that she's a bit sick. I understand that he lost his DoorDash yesterday or the day before. He's been kicked out of the partner program on Twitch, clearly. But the dude financially is not struggling. He's in a position where he can essentially move comfortably, if you will. DSP would be in that exact same situation if he wasn't a fucking addict, to make a long story short. So that's how Wings doesn't need to do anything. He's not in a position that pushes him to do anything, if you will. He somehow got banned off DoorDash for something about racial profiling or discrimination or whatever. It is what it is. I suppose. I don't know what even the full details are of it. I think it's stupid if that's really the case. But it is what it is. Wings he's kind of a beacon for that type of shit. And really it comes down to the fact that he talks too much, to be honest. He wants to, in the exact same way that DSP does in a lot of ways, he's always appealing to his trolls or to his haters, right? He's always looking to try to get them on his side, and that's just not gonna work, because these are some of the same people he's already burned. So there's no incentive for any of them to come around and try to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's just not worth doing. They already know how he is. You know what I mean? And Wings is somebody who is good at reverting back into that negative, toxic, destructive type of behavior when the situation comes up. One of the things that was actually brought up, which has kind of been a hot topic, is, so to speak, is that PKA, we haven't heard from the other two. It's really just Woody has said that he would like to have Wings back on. I saw clips of that, by the way, of what Woody's had said. And essentially, to make a long story short, he was like, I'm not mad at Wings anymore. I was mad at him for shit that he did 8 years ago, but I'm not mad anymore, so I want him to come on. That sounds like a terrible reason to go on, first off and foremost. One, for Wings, I should say, unless they're going to pay you out, unless they're going to cash out your chips, essentially, PKA should be dead to you. End of story. There's nothing that's going to come out of that. And I don't give a shit whether Wings forgives you. I don't care if any of those guys forgive you. They'll never ever trust you. They'll never trust you in the way that they used to. The relationship will never be what it was. Just give it up. Just let it go. I don't think they're ever going to pay you out. I don't see a reason or an incentive to do so. So forget all that. If you're going to be a guest on the show, you should demand some type of, you should demand a fee. If they want you to be a reoccurring guest, like maybe once a month or whatever, then they need to draw up a contract, and you need to know exactly what you're getting, whether upfront or residuals later on down the line. And I think that was a point that Low Tier God had pointed out to him, that, hey, this is what you should try to go for. This is what you should try to negotiate for. But honestly, I think Wings should just let it go. To be honest, you should just let it go. It's not doing you any favors. Yeah, take a look at the menu, and I'll start serving them up first chance I get. I saw the interview. I'm actually talking a little bit about it now. I think that I'll actually go over it when the full interview comes out, which I'm pretty sure Wings will have it up in a few. Low Tier God's talking about chopping it up, and then he may put out the whole interview on another channel. And I'll go over it in particular, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, they talked a shitload about trolls, which is what I kind of expected out of them, to be honest, kind of like sharing war stories and whatnot. And then Low Tier God did what I thought he would do, where try to turn the negative into a positive, try to profit off of your notoriety. Same thing I've said that DSP should do, or try to do, but DSP is too stupid. Wings doesn't know how. No, it's not even that Wings doesn't know how. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to embrace what he's become. if you will. It only signifies his failure. In the same way, if I could give you guys an example of when Rich from Review Tech USA and that one guy, Camelot, or whatever his name is, or whatever his full name is, I should say, were trying to tell DSP that he should just embrace being a lolcow. It's like that. I just think Wings just doesn't want to do that. Wings has given up. The fight's over. You know what I'm saying? The fight's over. And he doesn't know how to start over and give himself a clean slate, but he doesn't know how to let shit go either, which is kind of sad in a lot of ways. First thing is let PKA go. It's gone. It's over. If you really want to reestablish a relationship with these people or try to build something or whatever, then do that off the internet. You know what I'm saying? Talk to them on the phone or whatever, or email them back and forth, whatever the case may be, and keep it like that. Keep it off of live streaming or content creation or whatever the case may be. That's how that needs to work, because Woody had said that we've cleaned up all the negativity. There is not going to be any trolling. There's not going to be any of that bullshit. Things are different. But the way Kyle conducts himself, nothing's ever going to be different. For whatever Woody said, there are still triggers. There's still stuff that Wings could say that would ended up triggering him and putting him in a bad spot. That's clear. If you've held that resentment, let's say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you held any type of resentment against anybody for 8 fucking years, and then all of a sudden you just stop being mad and you're ready to let it go, are you really ready to let it go? No. No one drops that type of emotion just like that. That's something that happens gradually over time. There's not many people who are emotionally strong enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because let's go with DSP, for example. Hatred is a habit. It's something that's ingrained into him. He doesn't know how to sit there and be rational with somebody. He can't sit there with anybody who has a real criticism of him and sit there and take in what they say and really think about it. He always has to have a retort. He always has to have a rebuttal. It's always, oh, I agree with you. And then slowly but surely talk himself into this circle where, oh, it wasn't my fault. You need to kind of see things my way. Okay, let me talk myself into this for about 7 or 8 minutes. And then you finally just let it go. People like that can't do that. He just doesn't have that in him. And that's the reason why he's not gonna, for people who are asking, will, low tier God ever be able to get DSP up there? I think he could. Because I think DSP is clout chasing him on Twitter anyway. So maybe. But even still, I think that'd be a even worse conversation than it was with Wings. And I don't even think the Wings interview was that bad. I don't think it was great, but I don't think it was bad. I think it's part of this branding that low tier God's been doing as of late. Let's talk about that briefly. And I'm not brief, you know how I do. Essentially, low tier God has gotten to the point in his life where if he's going to be what he wants to be and get to where he wants to go, he has to try to clean some of this shit up. The only way he can kind of do that is fix his mistakes, so to speak. And so he, like just 2 or 3 videos ago, he was talking about how he was rating people on Instagram or whatever the case may be. Some chick who is a much larger female model may have heard some of the stuff and got offended or whatever the case may be. And he stepped out of his way to apologize to her and said he didn't mean it or whatever the case may be. Now, that's a lot for someone to do, to be honest. And it's certainly a lot for him to do, and he wouldn't have done it unless he had a motive for doing it. So I don't know what he thought he was going to get from this model. I don't know if it was supposed to be clout. I don't know what it was going to be. Who cares? The point being is that he did it with a purpose. He didn't do it out of genuinely giving a shit about what she thought. He did it because he's expecting something to come out of it for him. In turn, you're seeing some of these videos that he's done lately where he talks about girlfriends cheating. He talks about bad experiences as a child or in his teens or whatever the case may be. He's doing all of these things to make himself seem more... He's doing it to make himself seem more approachable for a community that is outside of his own. At the end of the day, the people that watch Low Tier God daily, right, are either hardcore supporters or they're his trolls. It's one or the other. He needs to get a whole new group in that can see him differently than the very people who have already chosen to take sides with him or the people who don't like him. He needs that third element, that third demographic. And as he's moved up to 80,000 or whatever, because numbers is the only thing that guy gives a shit about. He now is getting to the point where he can actually try to reestablish himself and do so. What you saw with Wings tonight, for those of you who saw it, is a pet project. It is his first step into, I guess, trying to be some type of example when it comes to self-help and trying to get over. Sorry, I just System 23 just said some funny ass shit. He's putting himself into position that he's trying to make himself out to be, I should say, a person who, I have all this negativity happen to me on a daily basis, but that doesn't mean that I can't try to be positive for somebody else. And if he can get Wings, if he can at least ingrain into Wings that, hey, you can turn a negative into a positive and get him on the right track, he can eventually branch out and do it to others. Now, I don't know if he's planning on having another guest or not. I don't know if this is going to be even a thing for him. If it is, just the way I would see it is his next guest should probably be a female. Should probably be a woman, to be honest. That's just the way I see it. And someone who's doing numbers, since that's all he chases anyway. Someone who has been in a controversy, who he can sit down and be relatable to. I don't know who that is, but that's essentially the thought. As it pertains to Wings himself, I think Wings is just going to slide back into old habits. I think that's just what he is. No, he's not going to ask El Presidor to go up there. That's going to turn into a confrontation real quick. Because El Presidor knows how to press buttons. He's always been good at that. So I don't know how that's going to play. Oh, you're right. Actually, Low Tier God does actually have a lot of. Well, he always got some shit going on. But he dropped some underage chicks, underage girls fucking leaks in a was it on Twitter or was it in a Discord? Something like that. Yes, El Presidor is still around. Yes, he is. El Presidor was just talking about the game actually tonight. I didn't actually get a chance to jump in on his streams, but he's still there. He should get Amberlyn Reed. Psh, Amberlyn Reed's too busy lying about wifey or whoever that chick is that she fucking with right now. So I don't know how that's gonna play out, but that would be kind of funny. Actually, he has a better chance of getting Chantel before he gets Amber. It was on Discord, yeah, or it was Twitter. Either way, he was sitting there passing some chick's nudes around or whatever, and she says that she was underage when that happened. It is what, and then you got Wings talking about something about age of consent for a young girl under the age of 13, if I remember correctly. Whatever. Yeah, actually, okay, good point. Someone said that wifey left her. Some people are saying that that's actually not the case and she's still around. I don't know. That whole thing's a mess in itself. I'm waiting for Almighty Tevin to do a stream on that shit. But that whole thing's a mess. Absolute fucking ridiculous, to say the very least. So yeah, so both of them are kind of stuck on some bullshit. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a mess with that girl in those nudes. I don't know what he was doing with that. I don't know what the point of that was, but that was stupid. That should have never happened. And then, like I said, what Wing said about that chick is, yeah. what Wing said about the age of consent, that's gonna follow him. I mean, as if there wasn't enough shit already on him, that's gonna follow him forever. That's pretty funny. I'm actually glad that Becky got out of there. I'm really glad Becky got out of there, because that shit was gonna end up killing her eventually. Nick Avocado's driving himself into the fucking ground. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but that shit's insane. That's insane what that guy's doing. That shit's insane. He's another one too, though. He's a fucking nut. He's a nut. What's up, Super Crazy? I thought you actually I just heard that you were going into detox for a little bit. What's going on with that? I mean, I understand that you need everybody needs a break from this shit eventually. So I feel you on that one. It gives yourself a chance to breathe and whatnot. That's always good. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I've been skipping his streams. I don't know how. I'm surprised that anybody was still sitting through those things. Sitting through a DSP stream is rough. It's rough by design, though. To be honest with you, he has nothing left. He's dying out exactly like how I thought he would. Exactly how I thought he would. And then, like I said, in another 10 days or so, we find out what the situation is with Twitch, if anything. I mean, that's how he discourages it. That's how he discourages people, though. Like that's how he's going to keep people out for as long as he can. Absolutely, yeah. You got to take care of yourself because that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to wear you down. What's up, Jesse? Because the guy has nothing left. Like between Detractor Twitter, chasing clout on Twitter, and Kiwi Farms, what else does he have? The guy has nothing else, clearly. And it's funny how when the leaks came out, he didn't need all that bullshit about, oh, I need this money for bills, I need this money for this, I need all this money for that, turns into, oh, I need money for stuff. And then what's this nonsense about he needs $700, or he did, I should say, needed $700 over the weekend, and someone correlated that with, oh, there's a WWE Champions event going on, and that's what he needed they surmise that that's what he needed the money for. I mean, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Yeah, he's a fucking addict. DSP has all the makings of an addict. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that he ain't got himself all fucked up the way he did. He has a very addictive personality by nature. Let me give you guys an example. The schedule, or his schedule. That right there is an addiction. It needs to be regimented in a way that's comfortable for him. He lost Panda Lee over that shit, as well as other things. Which leads to the idea that was the addiction one of the reasons that pushed her out was his gambling addiction, I should say, was his drinking getting crazy, and that pushed her away, as well as he didn't want to spend time with her. He didn't want to spend time with her outside of the mommy time. He wanted to spend that one day a week with her, and that was it. Other than that, he didn't want to spend any time. He doesn't want to spend time with these people. They're caregivers. He only needs them around when he wants them to be around. No different than Amberlynn Reed in a lot of ways, to be honest. Oh yeah, absolutely no sex. Absolutely, he wasn't pounding that out. That's clear. That was clear back when they were still living when he was still living in Connecticut. That Panda wasn't getting it, for sure. If nothing else, DSP in a lot of ways is the representation of some male pandas out in the wild that aren't willing to fuck to even save their own species. DSP is very much that. Very much so. And it's low, it could be low libido, it could be a lot of things, to be honest. It could be a lot of things. But going back to the addiction, or his addictions, look at how he treats people. Look at what's the situation right now? He's talking shit about PewDiePie again, right? Well, look at PewDiePie's life and look at DSP's. If you're DSP, right, and you're a narcissist, and you're looking at the situation like, I made PewDiePie. PewDiePie used to watch my videos. He used to, I don't even know how DSP would say it. Let me just wing it, I guess, because there's a couple of videos I need to watch, but I assume it's something similar to what he said before. He used to watch my videos. He used to comment under my videos, right? And essentially, he was inspired by me. You know what I mean? And then he turned around and talked shit about me, and I never did anything to him. Well, first off, he took a friendly jab at you, which shouldn't have been a very big deal in the first place. Secondly, and this is probably most importantly, you were the one running around calling him a Muppet, calling him a sissy, saying that he's not a real gamer, that all he does is scream at horror games to get fake reactions to kids, and that's what got him popular. You're the one who said all those things. You know what I'm saying? You're the one who took shots at him when I guess PewDiePie wrote a book at one time or another, and DSP said he was walking through like a Walmart, or maybe it was a Target, because I think Walmart's for those colored people. So I think he was walking through a Target or some shit, and he saw it in a value bin. I can't remember what that story is at the moment. And he was laughing at it, being like, oh, what a failure of a book, or yada, yada, yada. I mean, you could say that for any book, though. That doesn't really matter. Depending on who you're publishing the book through, and so on and so forth. So who gives a shit? But he, in DSP's own mind, he looks at it as he made PewDiePie. He's the one who established, he laid down the groundwork so PewDiePie could be successful. But if you look at the correlation between PewDiePie's life and DSP's, who's winning? Fuck who's winning. Who won? This isn't a race. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, the race has already been won. The race is over. DSP still hasn't made 200,000 subs. He may never do it unless it's fraudulent. And what's PewDiePie at? He's definitely over 100 million, right? He's won. He has a successful legacy on the internet, not even YouTube, on the internet that'll never be taken away from him. He has a beautiful wife. He has homes in 2 or 3 different countries. He's rich. He's rich in the way that his children will never have nothing to worry about, and hopefully his children's children will have nothing to worry about. He has everything that he wants, and he worked for it. Who cares what you guys think of the content that got him there? He's there. And he had a plan once he got there. DSP don't. DSP looked at it as, I'm going to suckle at this tit for the rest of my fucking life, and I'm going to live the way I want to live. And look at where it got him. He doesn't have anything to show for it. Nothing. Okay, fair enough. Hate Watcher Army. Big ups to you, by the way, man. No one needed to ever respect PewDiePie as a gamer. People respected him as an entertainer, and that's the difference. At the end of the day, DSP wants to talk about being a gamer, and he's the furthest thing from it. DSP, the quote-unquote entertainer, might have been something if he wasn't stealing from fucking Howard Stern. But that's the point. That's the difference between the two of them. It's not just the fact that PewDiePie is the #1 gaming channel on YouTube, but he's an entertainer. People are entertained by him. So even if you don't care about the game, you care about his reactions to it. That's the entertainment. That's the value. You know what I mean? DSP can't see that. He's, as I've told you guys before, he tries to hold on to this moniker of being a gamer, believing that that has some type of value that puts him on a plateau or should put him on a pedestal and whatnot. But you're shit at games. But you could be an entertainer. You could be entertaining. But DSP doesn't want that. He wants to be entertaining when he feels like it, or if he can get over, and he really can't do that. And ever since he admitted that how he was stealing jokes from Howard Stern, how could any of you guys think he's original about anything? If you know what I'm saying, he's essentially he's the gouty poor man version of Carlos Mencia. That's all he is. He's a career thief. You know what I'm saying? He's never come up with anything original. He's always had to take from someone else, which is ironic because if you go back to the Low Tier God Wings of Redemption interview they just had, or podcast, or whatever you want to call it, same concept. Oh, these people are taking our content to get themselves over and yada, yada, yada. Well, think about that. They took something you guys put out and they added to it to make it entertaining, and that's how they were able to elevate themselves over you. That's what you guys aren't seeing. And the reason why you guys don't want to see the entertainment is you guys don't want to look at as something less than what you are. And that's where when people say, oh, they took my content or they stole my content and they're getting off or they're getting over by shitting on me or whatever the case may be, that's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? Someone took what you had and turned it into something entertaining and people liked it. And it was at your expense and you can't really live with that, or you're having a hard time dealing with it. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, whether you're a pro gamer or you're a guru or whatever the fuck you are in whatever you're doing, as long as you're entertaining, that's what it means. That's what matters. You know what I mean? And that for a lolcow can't get that or doesn't understand that. What's going on with Joe Rogan as of late? Speaking of which, actually, there's now that I brought up Carlos Mencia, I'm sure most of you guys have already seen this. There's a clip out there, or there's a video out there. It's probably short. It's probably like 10 minutes, where I think Joe Rogan and Carlos Mencia were actually at the same comedy show, and there was another comedian there, and Joe Rogan was like, "Hey, that guy took your joke. You're not going to confront him on that?" And the guy who was holding the camera swings over to him, and he's like, "Oh, I can't really do that. I gotta, it's not that big of a deal. Whatever." And he's like, "Why is everybody scared of him? Just because he has a show on Comedy Central doesn't mean he's above anything." You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you guys have such a problem with speaking up? Now, even funnier, if any of you guys who have followed comedy, or if you guys just watch a lot of fucking videos, you'll find out Robin Williams, was a notorious fucking comedy thief, but not in the way that you're thinking. He was very good at taking a joke and he'll take the basis of it, I should say, and flip it into something completely different. And a lot of comedians respected him, but he was really notorious for doing that. But it was funny. Like, people knew that he wasn't doing it to be malicious. It was just what he did. What ends up happening later on, someone told me this story a long time ago, that when Robin Williams was walking into a comedy club, they had a special light for him that would flash to whoever the comedian was on stage, that Robert Williams was coming into the building. And so they had to essentially get their best jokes out early just so they wouldn't get taken. You know what I mean? Like, they had a light for him in these type of instances. I thought it was fucking hilarious when stuff like that happened. It was kind of a joke being played on. It was a joke emulating a joke being played on somebody else. But even then, no one took it, for anything. It was just, it's all fun and games. But with Carlos Mencia, he was actually running around just stealing jokes. He was blatantly stealing people's shit. And he tried to use the Dave Chappelle defense, quote unquote, to try to cover it, and it didn't work. Yeah, it was Bobby. Yeah, I think it was Bobby Lee. Yeah. Big ups Arizona for that. So it's some wild shit. It's some absolutely wild shit. But back to my point. It's just about being entertaining. Yeah, he did. He stole a lot of shit from George Lopez. He stole a lot of shit from just a lot of dudes. He stole a lot of shit from just a lot of dudes. It is what it is. And the thing is, though, too, right, is if he had credited people or paid homage or whatever the case may be, it might have been a little different. But, I mean, it is what it was. Carlos Mencia, it was right after, the Chappelle show was basically done, right? And they needed someone else that was willing to step in. And so they brought in Carlos Mencia because no one was really willing to go to that level. Because, let's be honest, Dave Chappelle's a hard act to follow. Even to this day, he's still a hard act. So what's up, Paul? Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. He's definitely a hard act to follow. You know what I'm saying? You can't, Dave Chappelle will go down as, if he isn't already, one of the greatest comedians of our time. It's going to be, you're not going to get another Dave Chappelle. You're not going to get another Robin Williams. You're not going to get another Eddie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? There are just those people that you're never going to see again. You had them for a certain amount of time. You should appreciate them while they're here, and then that was it. Some of these coffee names was actually done by, Asian GTG actually did this menu here. But actually, believe it or not, some of these coffee names came up from that stream that I did, I don't know, a month or two ago, where, you know me, it just kind of came up yo, someone give me a blend of different coffees, and people started throwing them out, and then people started throwing names to it. I actually have a list of, I don't know, I must have 60 or 70 different coffee names up there with the people who said it. We're planning on doing something with that later. Speaking of which, the giveaway is still a thing too, so keep in mind on that. I just need to talk to Jackal's Lair, because he's going to donate game codes, and there's someone else I need to speak to, and then me and Asian GTG will just get it done. So I'd like to do it soon, hopefully. No, don't even sweat it. Like, you can always catch the VOD of this later. This was kind of just something I'm doing on a spur of the moment. I didn't plan it. And there'll probably be another one later. Yes, I do need to talk to Playing with Your Beliefs, and I'd like to do once Street Fighter V is completely flushed out, and it's like readily available at that discounted price with all the characters for everybody. I'd like to do like a detractor tournament or something for like Street Fighter V or something. So, we'll see. Derek's Gold Milk. I don't even want to know what that is. I don't even want to know what that is. Yeah, that's true. Celebrity worship it shouldn't be a thing at all. Just appreciate a person's talent for what it is, but people always go too far. Like the old comedians from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Like feel like a lot of people sleep on that because there's so many people that that you can appreciate and who laid down the groundwork for who came later. So. But you haven't told yet. Like, don't make me have to ban you, man. Don't make me have to ban you. Oh shit, what's up, Agent Proper? So yeah. So it's kind of like that. Oh, it's milk and cookies for life, bro. All day. All day. But yeah, the DSP doing what he does is by design. Like I said, the guy's gonna end up destroying himself. At the end of the day, whether he gets back on Twitch or not, he's gonna keep doing what he's doing. He just doesn't care that people know about his addictions anymore. They're already out there. Yes, eventually I will cover the leaks on DSP. I most certainly will, because I want to laugh at that shit, and I want to actually. It's gonna take so fucking long, but I do kind of want to do like a month by month breakdown, not like what Piece of Piece is doing, because he's already shit. I'm gonna leave that to him because he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, going back to like some of those begging segments that he has, you find him in the Snort Burnell videos, you find him in the Mr. Huff Stuff videos, and he says, I really need this money on this particular weekend, I really need this money, and then you take that shit, right, and you go to the spreadsheet and see what he was actually spending that money on, shit like that. I can't do it for everything, but there are certain months where he was demanding, not even asking, he was demanding a large influx of money, and now we can kind of put a name to it, if you will. And most of that shit's going to come back to WWE champions and take out, I'm sure. Yeah, the number crunching is crazy. And then, like I said, I'm sure all of you have seen some of the spreadsheets. That shit's insane. That's insane that a grown ass man is spending money at that velocity, and that's what it is. And that's probably the best. That's probably the best description of it is the velocity of how he spends money. He spends it under the pretense that it's going to be there tomorrow. And then whatever he spends, he expects to recoup that and some, which is crazy. The reason why, to be honest, detractors kind of shake shit down the way they do is because DSP lies so frequently. And so it makes it a thing to go back and fact check that shit as much as you can. And sometimes the DSP's detractor community, I should say, for sure, I think is one of these rare instances where you have so many people from so many different backgrounds that if you don't have someone who already has some idea of how the situation works, you have at least half a dozen to a dozen people who are willing to track it down or willing to learn just so they can contribute to the situation. Like DSP has said at one time or another, people hate on him because they want to have like a sense of belonging, or they want to try to make friends or whatever the case may be. Dude, if SOK hasn't taught you guys anything, it shouldn't be about trying to make friends. That's not going to be the play. That's not the angle. To be honest, that's not the situation. At the end of the day, you're there to put out entertaining content. If you can, doing collabs with people, I think is something that you should do. It allows you to see someone else's perspective. I think it opens up ground for different crossovers, right? because the idea of having how do we word this? The idea of having you should have some crossover between audiences, right? Yeah, we all do DSP content or Perry content or whatever the fuck you're choosing to do these days, right? But we all have some type of crossover. We all essentially share an audience pool, if you will. But there are a lot of detractors who fall in between the cracks, who make really good content and have something to say. And those people should be shouted out. You don't always have to collaborate, but certainly shout out. You know what I mean? And that should be something that should be just taken as a regular thing to do. Everybody else can do it, so why not? I think that a lot of people, like especially after SOK fell, people were scared to do collaborations because everybody was going to look at them as they were just going to try to be SOK all over again. And that was the community stifling itself, to be honest with you. But I think DSP is looking at it from the wrong angle, but that's how he usually does. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense to him, he automatically thinks that's how the world works. Like when he brings up the argument about shills, right? About people who are paid, who do paid sponsorships or whatever the case may be. And he says that they're not truthful. They can't give their honest opinion. They're only there for the paycheck. Well, you're the one who says that people like me keep you from having positions or having opportunities like that. So what would that make you? But then he has that spin where he's like, oh, well, I would have told them up front that I'm not going to kiss their ass. And if I really like it, I'm going to like it. And I'll tell people that. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. No, you're being a bitch. You're the one who's pushing the goalpost back. If everybody who takes corporate money is a shill, then everybody who takes corporate money is a shill. So let's go ahead and throw some examples out. So Anime Gun, Endless, Paul, Agent Proper, if all you guys are sponsored by Beats by Drake, by Dre, sorry. If you guys are sponsored by that, right? If you guys are all in that pool and you guys are all making money like that, and then I come in there and say, oh, well, I'm doing the exact same thing, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I care for the project. Fuck that. I'm doing it for the exact same reason you guys are. You know what I'm saying? End of story. I'm doing it for that exact same reason. There is no separation between the two. Yes, are there people out there that do sponsorships strictly for cash? Sure. But you don't know what a person's intention is. You can assume all you want, but you don't actually know what their intention is. The point is that if the opportunity was given to you, you should take it. Don't sit there and try to throw morality or anything in it. There's always going to be people that are going to criticize you. Just take the money and move with it. You know what I mean? It's something like that still stifles the detractor community to this very day because people are still not scared. People are cautious. Let me choose my words carefully because I don't mean anything outside of what I'm trying to say. People are still cautious to monetize their content because the old guard was like, hey, no one can monetize DSP content. You see what I'm saying? And all that does is stifle people. You know what I'm saying? If people feel like they don't have free reign to do what they want, right, or to express themselves in a certain type of way, then people have to fall in line with something, or people have to be regimented, you know what I'm saying, in a certain type of way, it stifles creativity. Everybody's just who they are. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just following the next person. And that's lame. That's lame as shit. And why more people didn't speak about that early on, I mean, I guess that's one of the things we'll never know. Or maybe there are people that were, and they got snuffed out. Who could say? Yeah, I mean, it's gatekeeping in a roundabout way, certainly. But, I mean, let's be honest, gatekeeping still happens. Let's be perfectly honest. It's just a thing. You know what I'm saying? That's something that sadly that'll never really change. Because let's be honest, people still click up. You know what I'm saying? But see, the thing is that the guys who are still around, or the guys who are around, I should say, no one wants to have any problems with them, right? Or they have large followings or whatever the case may be, so everybody just kind of falls in line with it. So what makes that any different, right, than what came before it? Oh, because whatever shit they were doing hasn't come out yet. If they're doing anything. I don't mean to imply anything about anything. But it's stuff like that. So at the end of the day, there's always going to be gatekeeping. At the end of the day, you're always going to have somebody who's going to have an opinion about someone else in some type of way, shape, or form, and it gets blown up into something that it doesn't need to be. It's just kind of how it happens. It's just the way it is. But for DSP, But for DSP to say that it's just one giant circle jerk over here and that's it, everybody just falls in line or has the hive mind and agrees with everything, that's absolute bullshit. And DSP knows it. He knows that. Anybody who's ever been into anybody's Discord knows that. So that's just the thing in itself. But yet again, it falls into his narrative at the end of the day. And if DSP really didn't care about what detractors said, why does he still try to appeal to detractors? So, and he can't explain that. At the end of the day, if a bunch of people hate you, a bunch of people, well, let's not even say hate, because hate's a strong word, and it gets thrown around a little too much, because I think the general idea, people don't understand what hate is. Hate is, let me give you a solid example of what hate is. Obviously I don't have a problem with nobody here, but I'm going to pick somebody, I'm not going to pick anybody. I'm just going to, let's say hypothetically, if I don't like me having a disagreement with someone or not liking someone's take is one thing. If I don't like you because I don't like you because I get a bad vibe off of you or whatever the case may be is another thing. Me hating you is we can't coexist. That means one of us has to go. That's what hatred is. That's what real hatred is. That, you know what I'm saying? That you existing threatens my own existence and you need to go. That's what hatred is. And nobody here hates DSP. You dislike him. You may even hate what he does, but you don't hate him. Because if that was the case, if you really hated him, right, you do everything that was in your power to get rid of him. And no one's here to do that. Let's be honest. No one, no, Super Crazy, I do not hate you. Not at all. Not at all. And like I said, that's what real hate is. That's what real hate is. So no one hates anybody. If anything, DSP is the one who has, if nothing else, DSP has lived up to his moniker, the King of Hate. Because look at how he shut everybody out. Look at how he shut people out. That's what that really comes down to. You know what I'm saying? Like when you start shutting yourself off from the world, right? That's what real hatred is. And his hatred stems from essentially the world does not see him the way he wants to see it, or the way he wants the world to see him. So he just cuts himself off from it. He thinks that he's depriving society, if you will, by staying in his home, if you will. DSP should never make you hate. It should never. That's what he wants. That's kind of why he named himself the King of Hate. But even then, you don't hate him. You hate what he does. You know what I'm saying? But you don't hate him. You don't hate him. You know what I'm saying? Because if that was the case, like I said, we would have already crossed that line at this point. And no one's done that. You know what I'm saying? No one's done that. That hurts, Declan. That hurts. You're certainly I would say certainly you're in my top 10 people that I enjoy talking to. Actually, you're probably in my top 5, but you know what I'm saying? I don't put numbers on people, so disregard that statement. But that's what real hatred is. You know what I'm saying? Hatred, that's what it comes down to. DSP hates everybody. He always has. That's why he can use people the way he does. That's the reason why he lies the way he does. You know what I'm saying? Like, his behavior speaks on it. Look at the way he spends. He spends because he feels that he should have a good life at the cost of other people. And that's why he spends money in such a way like he believes someone's coming to take it. And in a lot of ways he does. And in a lot of ways he does. Look at how Wings of Redemption and Low Tier God were talking about taxes. That's the same type of mentality that DSP has to an extreme. Like the way LTG said it was, and this is just common sense, to be honest. Taxes are just part of life. If there's 3 things, here, let me tell you 3 things that my father told me was guaranteed in life. The 3 things in life that are guaranteed that you cannot avoid is pain, death, and taxes. Those are absolute. Those are inevitable. At one time or another, that's what it is. That's what existing is, right? But just because that's part of existence doesn't mean it is all of your existence. For someone like DSP, he has taken those 3 tomes, if you will, to an extreme, and you see what the end result of it is. And that's something that it's something that I think that's partially instilled, but it's something that he's just convinced himself of doing over time. That was his coping mechanism, or as people joke about it, that's what's become part of it. It's crazy when you really sit there and think about it, but it's not even crazy. It's just that type of bleak outlook on life. It makes you, this is going to be egregious, but you know, and I don't apologize because this is what I meant to say. It makes you wonder how, if life is so bad for him under those conditions, why hasn't he just ended it? And I'm not advocating suicide when I say that. I'm just saying that if he feels that life is just so painful for him, right? Or life isn't fulfilling, or if he feels that he doesn't have enough meaning in his life, then I'm surprised he just hasn't done that, if that makes sense. But keep in mind, this is the same guy around the Etika situation and around the Better Health situation who was like, I have been suicidal. I have had depression. And I was able to pull myself out of it. And, you know, I was able to snap myself out of it. That's not how that works. That's not how that plays. He may have thought he had depression, right? Or he may have thought he had some type of chemical imbalance or whatever the bullshit is. And he just milked it for what it was. But that wasn't real depression. You know what I'm saying? But then again, the way he drinks, and I've told you about this too, at the velocity and the amounts that he drinks it as frequently as he drinks, maybe he does have depression. Who could say? Okay. Yes, in some ways, yes. The new generation of detractors have come at every generation of detractors has a different effect on Phil, depending on the generation, depending on how they approach him. If you look at how the OGs came at him, they came at him. Well, first you start off with, Jesus Christ, what was that, DSP cult leader, calling him out on the bullshit that he was saying and how he treated people. Then you go into your evil AJ and you go into the this is how you don't play movement, who attacked him for the content that he put out there, for the gameplay that he was so proud of and he, quote unquote, was white hot popular over. So now he's been attacked on two fronts. He's been attacked on what he says, and he's been attacked on his actions. Then you get into people who were, and this is in the same generation, who were speaking on, essentially they saw him for a con man. DSP does not care about you people. He's doing this because he's too lazy to get a job. And instead of you throwing your money at DSP, you should save them for your own rainy days and force him to grow the fuck up. So now you have people who have attacked what he says. You have people who have attacked his work of art, if you will. And then you had people who attacked his personality and his motives, right? That's what laid down the groundwork. Then later on, you get into people like Eddie B43, you get into Ludacris, you get into Almighty Tevin, you get into SOK, you get into KWO, you get into all these different groups who addressed what he said on a daily basis or a semi-daily basis. And they start building a following. And some of the people in that following come from DSP's own fan base. People who saw some of the earlier content being put out and questioned him on it, and they were expelled, right? Or they were kicked out. And back in those days, a lot of those guys got kicked out by DSP's own community. DSP didn't have to move. He didn't have to get his hooves dirty. He could let other people handle that for him, and it only added to his prestige, if you will. Excuse me. Because DSP is not someone who feels that he should have to work any harder than he needs to. So if a mess comes about, oh, well, I expect you guys to clean it all up. Like, for example, I'll give you guys a good example. Somewhat good example. When DSP looks at his mods are janitors, essentially. They are there to clean up the mess, and he goes on doing what he's doing. So this way, if the wrong person gets banned, or if the chat turns against them, or turns against him because this person was banned, he can have someone to blame. He can have someone to point at. While at the same time, hey, dude, we have rules on here. I'm trying to have this chill environment, this positive environment, and you stepped out of pocket. I'm, as the king, right? I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and give you amnesty. And I'm going to let you come back. But if you fuck up again, I'm going to have these guys, the mods are going to have to do what you got to do. So by that, going by that angle, right, or coming from that angle, he still maintains control while still having deniable plausibility, if you will. When you look at so early on, he could have people in the community push those people out, and same concept. As time went on, though, people started to kind of question whether is it right to do this. And then you had as he likes to call it, the good old boy group, or you had the hardcore fan base really start to come around themselves, and or really start to form around themselves, I should say, and really become more and more compact. And they kind of split the fan base up. But DSP wanted that. He wanted the dedicated hardcore group, and then he wanted the casual group, if you will. And if you want to be part of this hardcore group, part of DSP's inner circle, in air quotes, you got to fall in line. And you have to go with everything that this comes with. If not, then you're just a fucking hater. You're a fucking detractor. Get the fuck out. And what ended up happening is more and more people got the fuck out. And he started to, and then as that was going on, you have more and more people coming into the gaming sphere, if you will, and they're hitting the ground running. And DSP can't really do anything about that either. So now all Phil can do is try to slander or shit on these new content creators by saying these people aren't real gamers. These people are coming in with these big companies that are already backing them up. They're coming with these big fan bases that they've already established somewhere else, and they're trying to push little guys like me out. And if you go over there and watch their content, you're fucking me over. By doing shit like that, he basically tried to close off everybody else and have them conditioned to just what he was doing. The plain, fucking bland ass vanilla content, right? And not wanting to go and do all the other shit. I'm just a real gamer. I'm doing things the way I want to do it because this is the best way to do it. And so there you go. And this is something that I've said before. The reason why Phil didn't want to go to direct capture the way when he did, or he didn't go to direct capture sooner, I should say, is because for some reason he thought that if you were pulling a direct feed from the video games, from the games that you're playing or whatever, you were breaking some type of copyright or whatever the case may be. I honestly think that's what he was thinking. So this idiot stifled himself for like 4 years just because he thought, oh, well, all the people who are doing direct feed, those guys are going to end up getting phased out because all their shit's going to get claimed and I'm still going to be good. It sounds pig-tardish because it is pig-tardish. But I honestly think that's the reason why. And the only reason why he ended up going to direct capture is because John woke his fucking ass up and he's like, dude, you're being passed up. And look at what me and Howard are doing with Don't Blow It. We're streaming. We got direct feeds. Dude, you're falling behind. This is the standard now. And Phil, being Phil, convinced John and convinced Chris and Teo and whoever else to actually do all the work to get shit done. And that's how that happened. That's how that shit happened. And it's because of that type of mindset. And it's because of you have an individual who's looking for every conceivable angle to take without just walking the line straight, that it's only hurt him and it's only continued to hurt him. He stifled himself, and he did it for over a decade. And just because he was rewarded by making $100,000 a year, or $100,000 plus, I should say, doesn't mean he wasn't doing it wrong. But Phil will tell you, oh, I still have a fan base. Oh, I'm still making a living. So how could I be wrong? Well, why is your fan base dwindling? Why are you making less and less money each and every year? Is that not enough to tell you you're not doing it wrong? You're not doing it right, or you're not doing something right? It should be. And this is coming from someone who I've got hundreds of fucking hours of me ranting over this ass clown. Right? I've got hundreds of hours of me doing that. Some of you have watched at least most of it, I would assume. I don't know anybody who's watched all of it. But have you watched most of it? So if I can see that, and as much of an asshole as I am, then how are you going to tell me people in your own fan base didn't see it? And you were clearly never going to change. So they left him. And then when he got backed into a corner, right? Oh, I don't want to do edited content because that's for people with short attention spans. Then he gets backed up into a corner. Then KO Gaming becomes a thing. You know what I'm saying? And then he does that for a year. He thought that was going to be the fucking new meal ticket. He ends up hitting it out the park with Homefront Revolution. He gets his home run, and I'll explain that home run in a second. He gets that home run, right? And then him and fucking Panda go on vacation without any bullets left in the chamber to pop off shots later. And let's go ahead and be honest a little bit about that Homefront Revolution video. The only reason why it was successful is because a much bigger YouTuber saw that video and agreed with Phil and took a snippet of Phil's original review, if you will, of it, and put it in his video and then credited him in the description. That's why that video blew up. Because another content creator who was far more successful than him gave him a rub. And Phil, instead of looking at that for what it was a rub. You know what I'm saying? Someone threw some pity at you. Someone, gave you a look and tried to capitalize off that. He was like, oh, I'm the man. Oh, I'm the man now. Oh, well, yeah, I can still do DSP gaming, but shit, this edited content shit, I got this shit. I'm the man. Time to go on vacation. So he got his first big check from KO Gaming, and he immediately went to spend it. Didn't think about trying to save it. Didn't think about, well, shit, I hit a home run on this one. Can I hit a home run the next time around? Can I get a grand slam off this bitch if I really work at it for the next month or two and then set up for that really big vacation? No, he wanted to go on some staycation at some fucking place that was a half hour away from the crib, right? And decided to spurge out there for 4 days or whatever that shit was, which was absolute stupid. And then the whole time he was fighting with people on Instagram. While doing what, ladies and gentlemen? Watching Dragon Ball Z on fucking DVD and watching wrestling and laying in bed, drinking. Could have done the same shit at home. He squandered that. And then that was it. He lost all his momentum. But to get back to sorry for that, for me going off on the Ben. But yes, every generation affects DSP differently, and this new generation is they're all about their fact checking. To be honest with you, when DSP says something, they are trying to have him stapled to that shit as best as possible. And even if they got to go too far with it, whatever your thoughts are on the hack, if you will, of the Bank of America shit, if they're willing to go that far with it, they're willing to go that far with it. At the end of the day, does it stop anything? No, it doesn't. Let's not lie to each other. It doesn't stop anything. What it does do is it continues to push Phil into a corner because his dirty little secrets that no one had any proof of is now all out there. And he knows it. Yeah, exactly. He's a one pump wonder. That's the best way to say it, actually. He you know what I'm saying? They can't stop it. You're right. Actually, Ravensdolphin, you guys go hard. And you guys are coming at him from so many different directions that he can't stop it. Let me give you a great example of that. Because I'm not sure if any of you guys have really noticed it. Look at the numbers that detractors are doing as a whole, right? And if you look at how the algorithm is being played, the algorithm is in favor of DSP detractors more now than ever before. You are finding more and more people that are able to hit the anywhere between 4 and 10,000 on a frequent basis in a way that you probably haven't seen since the Escort saga, to be honest. And the reason why is because the YouTube algorithm is catered to DSP detractors. Now, let me explain shortly my theory on that. And for any DSP cuckolds, you can run back to them and tell them this. I told you that if DSP came back here, if he was forced to come back to Gaudi Rome, he was going to die here. Now, I may not have actually fleshed out on why that is, but allow me to allow me to go ahead and explain. By DSP being forced to be on one median consistently over a period of time, right? He's basically putting DSP gaming back into the race by streaming. Now, though on YouTube, streams do not get the respect that they deserve as it compares to a video, you can very much grow a channel just off streaming, especially if you're willing to stick to a very autistic schedule like DSP does. The problem is DSP's name does not belong to DSP. It belongs to his detractors. So whether it is DSP, whether it is DarksydePhil, whether it is Phil Burnell, whether it is the King of Hate, whether it is Snortbucks, whether it is whatever it is that can be pertained to DarksydePhil, the detractors have that shit lock, stock, and trade. We own the algorithm. We own the tags. We own him. DSP, DarksydePhil, DSP Gaming, KO Gaming, King of Hate Vlogs, we own that. So the more that he streams on YouTube, the further he continues to push his detractors in the algorithm. So when you have these detractors that are being like, yo, this guy right here is almost to 1,000. Let's get him there. Actually, the homie Red, I'd like to see him. Actually, let me put his link in here real quick. Give me a second. But when you have detractors that are pushing other detractors up in the algorithm, that right there further screws DSP over. And it elevates every other. Here we go. That's the link to his channel right there. Let me put this in the chat. When you have detractors that are willing to push traffic to other detractors, it further hurts DSP. And he should know that. If he don't, he about to get a crash course in this right now. Yeah, exactly. He's contributing to the ecosystem basically. He's become food. That's probably the best term for it. He's become food now. He has no say so in this. That right there is here. I'm gonna pin this. This is to Red's channel. He's at 500 plus subs. If you're not subscribed to him, please do, because he actually does great content, and I'd like to see him be elevated. But he's been basically feeding the machine in a way that he can't stop, and he'll never be able to. And as the longer he's stuck here, the more detractors will profit off of him, at least when it comes to the algorithm. And he'll never be able to change that. He'll never be able to do anything about it. And so now the quote unquote hunter has become the hunted, so to speak. And he'll never be able to change it. And so between all of the fact checking and between, let's be honest, people just putting out genuinely good content, DSP has been beaten from all sides. Now, it's my understanding that that's fine. I'm not saying that you have to subscribe to him. If you would, that'd be great. But you're not obligated to do anything. Snort. But as it pertains to, continuing my thought as it pertains to DSP, and as it pertains to him turning comments back on, because we've talked about this. Is it too little, too late? No. Him sitting there and fucking going through and proofreading all these different comments or whatever is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. You're talking about, like, let me give you an example. When I stepped into the game, DSP was still able to pull like 2,000 views on a video, give or take. Now he's barely cracking 500, if even that much. So the desperation of turning the comment section back on was a good thing until he decided to basically play Gaudi police, or the Gestapo, I should say, with the comment section. Then he fucked himself. He fucked himself all over again. And why? And why? What was the point of you doing that? It's just it's the same shit on Twitter. I'm sorry that you get ratioed. Actually, I'm not sorry. Fuck all that. You're getting ratioed. But at the same time, that's still engagement. That's still impressions, right? Whether you're getting ratioed or not. That's just, it is what it is. you just have to take it. Either say something that's interesting or engage in a conversation. Sorry, have a conversation or engage in a debate without trying to call people kids or trying to dismiss people. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, we live in a social environment where you need to be able to communicate with people. He's not a social person. He doesn't know how to talk to people. He's scared to talk to people. He's scared of you. He's scared of each and every fucking one of you. You know what I mean? And to live like that is probably one of the real tragedies of it, if you will. Now, it's not even that you guys got him by the balls. It's the fact that, like, if you guys wanted an example of living rent-free in somebody's head, this is it. The only difference is there's a whole community that does it. You have a whole community that lives rent-free in his head. And he can't make it go away. But it's even worse than that. He needs us. That's what this has come down to now. He is so codependent on this shit that he can't let it go. Essentially, a normal day for DSP, if I had to guess, is waking up at like 10 a.m. or whatever the case may be, checking fucking Twitter, checking Detractor Twitter, getting ready for the fucking stream, getting the gin together, you know what I'm saying? Pretending like him and his wife have some type of normal life and shit, getting on stream, seeing what Kiwi Farms is doing, and then starting this miserable ass stream where you're literally begging the people just for you to continue to exist. And then you got 4.5 hours of that bullshit. You get off for that 3-hour break. You're more than likely hitting WWE champions, right? To try to get that midday pull. See what Kiwi Farms is doing. See what fucking shit you can find on Twitter that's a hot topic that you feel that you can chime in on. Get a drink or two in you. He's probably not even eating. He's probably drinking. He's probably, like, you know what I'm saying, he's having like cocktail lunches, as they call it. Or that's one of the ways they describe it. And then he's back on stream to try to keep the buzz up. And then he's doing a night stream where he's miserable. End of story. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's essentially what his day is. And then once the stream is over, ladies and gentlemen, then it's coping with WWE champions. It's trying to get another fucking gin and Sprite in the mix somewhere there. It's him getting back on Kiwi Farms and Detractor Twitter, and then hopefully having enough alcohol in his system where he goes to sleep. And that's his day. And then it just starts all over again. And he can't give that up. It's all he knows now. And you could very well say, I think so, his drinking has ramped up. His drinking has ramped up with every new detractor that essentially comes into the game. You know what I'm saying? For every detractor who has chosen to step away, or chose to move on, or just be bored and just takes a break, there is someone else that's coming in to fill that void, and that's just somebody else that he has to watch. And he has to watch all of it. He has to know what each and every person's take is, because he needs to have, he needs to know what avenue or what angle someone's attacking him from. And he just can't do it. He can't deal with it. And alcohol is the way out. It always has been. So if you're conducting your life like that, how do you have time for Catherine? How do you really have time with Jasper? Someone tell me that. You guys see the velocity that he's sitting here. Well, not even velocity. You see how frequent he orders out. You know what I'm saying? And you guys can see what kind of food he's ordering. How much, you know what I'm saying, energy do you think this guy really has? Look at those total wine bills. That's just not cheap, ladies and gentlemen. We're really swinging for the fucking fences when it comes to our liquor. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? And DSP is someone who very much tries to drown out the problems. And that's not a way of dealing with this shit. But it's his way of dealing with it. I think when Low Tier God said tonight that, he's gone out in the middle of the desert out there and he's just walked, right? And contemplated whether he wanted to kill himself or not. I believe him. I've heard him talk about that in videos. I believe he has. And I believe his narcissism is the only thing that actually kept him going. Low Tier God has to say, I'm a Martian to make himself feel like he's above the people that criticize him. In the same way that DSP is like, I'm unique, I'm special, I'm the lucky one. Same concept. He can't sit there and deal with that like everybody else does, because he feels that he's better than everybody else, but he's not. He's another victim to his own bullshit. Yes, actually, Paul, that's actually a good point. I do think he was actually trying to get rid of Jasper. I really do. I don't know if he's trying to do it through neglect, like what happened with Cinnamon and Raisin. But, I mean, we already have 2 victims in the backyard, so who's to say we can't go for a third? And to be honest with you, if you're Catherine, how much do you really care about Jasper? Because the way DSP makes it sound like, oh, she's working all the time. And then when she's not working, she's in her room playing games all the time. Well, how much time is there really for Jasper? How is it that every time DSP wakes up in the morning early, it's because Jasper's waking him up? Well, where's Catherine at? How is it that 2 of you live in that house and no one was able to get that kitty litter, box cleaned up? How is it that you were able to split your hoof open cutting vegetables? Why wasn't Catherine doing that? Matter of fact, why didn't Catherine help you bring the groceries in the house? Which you didn't say that she did. You said you carried those groceries in. So the more, and that right there could lead into the suspicion of Catherine's really there, but really it's turned into a roommate type situation. That's what I think. I can't prove any of that, but that's what I think. I think if Jasper died tomorrow, to be honest, I think, hey guys, I'm going through something right now. It's personal. I don't really want to talk about it at the moment, but something really bad has happened. A week or 2 later, guys, Jasper got really sick and he didn't make it. And, Catherine's been crying. She couldn't work for the last couple of days. I've been down. I've been depressed. And so if I've been angry at you guys over the last couple of days or the past week, or I haven't seemed like myself, that was the reason why. Jasper, I love Jasper. I love Jasper as if he was my own son, snort. And the doctor said that, it wasn't that serious. And he said it wasn't our fault. He said it wasn't our fault he got sick. It was just these things happen to cats. And, Jasper is a moho or is a mojito cat. And he's really sociable. And he's been sleeping in the, what the fuck did he say recently? He was sleeping in the laundry room or some shit. So maybe he, and he's, how Jasper likes getting into stuff. Maybe he got into the bleach. Maybe he got into the detergent. Maybe he swallowed a fucking Tide Pod. Who knows? But he didn't make it, guys. And so, I'm not asking you guys for anything. It's just a really tough time for me and my wife right now. So, can we I really need the stream to try to get my fucking mind off this shit. And it's going to sound something like that. And the money's going to pile in because everybody's going to feel bad for him and shit. And he's going to he's going to get what he wants. And I'm sorry, it's not funny me laughing about that. And even though my impersonation is terrible because I didn't get the voice down, I wasn't going for it. I really just wanted to focus on the speech. It's probably going to sound something like that. And then sooner than later, they'll get another replacement for him, maybe. Or maybe they won't. Look at how DSP fucked up that exercise bike for Catherine. Catherine was going to, remember, just in case you guys don't remember the lore, first Catherine was going to the gym. And then she was getting dicked down by Jim and Tyrone and whoever else. Then all of a sudden, Catherine doesn't need to go to the gym anymore, guys. We're going to get her an exercise bike. Now, just in case you guys don't know the exercise bike lore, it was a Christmas gift, I think. It was either a birthday or a Christmas gift. And what happened was Phil's parents sent them the money. And the money was supposed to go to Catherine to get whatever she wanted. Phil forbade her from going to the gym anymore, so she decided to get an exercise bike. All Phil had to do was put the damn thing together. He botches that shit. No, first, it was an inconvenience to have the damn thing delivered, right? Then he botches putting the damn thing together. Then it was a pain in the ass to get them to pick it up so they could send it back. Then all of a sudden, her birthday gift, I'm sorry, super crazy, thank you. Then the birthday money, right, that was for Catherine, all of a sudden was diverted over to bills. She didn't get to spend her birthday money the way she wanted to. That birthday money went to bills. You see how that worked out? You see how convenient that was? So, I mean, out of that, I mean, what else can you say? What else can you really say? And that's kind of the fucked up world we live in. You know, being part of the Gowdy universe and shit. And yet again, the DSP is probably feels more threatened now than he ever has before. If you had to guess. Yeah, essentially, well, if you think about it, before the leaks even dropped, we already had an idea of where his money was going. Now we know exactly where the money... That's funny. Should have had Chris build the exercise bike. That was a good one, Silent Weapon. I like that. We know exactly where Phil's money was going. I think we always knew. We always knew where the money was going, and now we just got proof. Or now it's not even proof. It's been verified. We know for sure now. And he can't argue with it. Because if he does, he has to admit that the leaks are true. But then that doesn't matter because people like, what's his name? That fucking cuck who keeps giving him money for Street Fighter. Jax Rapture, or whatever the fuck his name is. People like him are still going to throw money at Phil. They're still going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is DSP doesn't even realize that they don't do it because they care about you. They do it to try to spite people like me. And the thing is, you're not spiking. You're not spiting me at all. I'm not seething and fucking punching the air and shit, even though shadow boxing is good exercise and no one can be mad at that. But you're not fucking hurting me by doing that shit. You're not hurting me in the slightest. I want you to give him your money. Give him all your money. You know what I'm saying? Jax, what are you, man? You're like in your mid-30s or some shit? And you're still saving up for a car and you live with your grandparents or something like that? So, I mean, clearly, by the way you're playing your cards out, you're not going to do much with your life. So keep giving Phil money. Keep financing him. Go ahead and keep doing that. Keep doing that. You know what I'm saying? That works out. If that's going to add to the entertainment, do it. And I wish you the best of luck. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, why are you even trying to save up for a car? Why don't you go ahead and use grandma or grandpa's car? Matter of fact, I hope you're putting some money aside for when your grandparents pass away, because Phil's going to want a piece of that inheritance. So you might as well go ahead and just set some money aside to him when that happens. I know that might sound like a dick move. Sorry, not sorry. Let's be honest. Go ahead and be like Planet Jeff. He sat there and lost his wife. And that's a shame, by the way. I really mean that. But he didn't mind spending his wife's insurance money on Phil. So, I mean, why don't you go ahead and join that exclusive club? Go ahead. Have at it. You know what I'm saying? If you're not planning on having a family, if you don't have any real ambitions for yourself, then by all means, go ahead and do it. And I will laugh at you all the way as Phil is snorting his way to the bank. I will do that. If that will make you feel better, if that helps you justify what you're doing. But what the fuck are you going to do, Jax, when you're fucking 50 and you wake up and your grandparents are gone, most of your inheritance money's gone, you got bills fucking coming out your ass, and DSP isn't even thinking about you no more? What happens when you end up getting the Brightside Viking treatment, where Brightside Viking was in between jobs and he couldn't contribute to Phil, and a few months later got stabbed in the back, got that blood eagle treatment? What's going to happen when that happens to you? What happens when you're not a priority anymore? What happens when you go up there on Fridays to get your little recognition and you're too broke to do it? What are you resorting down to now? You're giving what, $25 now? $50? Damn. Like, what is that supposed to be? It kind of makes you think, Jax, maybe me giving that $1,000 that one night didn't really mean much. Actually, let me go ahead and reiterate that for you. It didn't mean much, because the next day his dumb ass was begging yet again. Like, your $1,000 didn't even happen. So how does it feel to be basically a cuckold for 2.5 hours on a Friday night, and then Saturday, the pimp is right back out there pimping you again and everybody else? How'd that feel? How'd that feel to be someone's slut for fucking 2.5 hours? And then he went right back out and pimped someone else. You were a good hoe that night, Jax. You went ahead, you made daddy $1,000. Whew, That's a lot of bacon, baby. That's a lot of gin and tonic. That's a lot of Sprite. Only for him to go back and beg yet again. How'd that feel? Tell me something. How'd that feel? How'd that feel? I'd like to know what it felt like to be someone else's whore for about 2.5 hours. Because damn, when you threw that $1,000 down, I was sitting there thinking to myself, shit, should I reach out to Agent Proper right now and be like, yo, did you see what this idiot did? But see, I didn't want to waste I didn't want to waste Agent Proper's time, so I didn't do it. So I sat there and reached out to Agent GTG, and he looked at me like, why would he do that when he could just spread that out over 10 weeks? I don't know. I don't know what goes through the mind of a hoe. But what I do know is if you were trying to be a bottom bitch, you failed miserably. Just like that fucking bitch Swaggins. Just like that shit. It's funny how everybody keep chasing after Brightside Vikings position. Ain't none of y'all bitches got it. I don't understand. Just Jesus fucking Christ. Y'all still chasing after Brightside Viking? After all these years. After all these years, you still chasing after that motherfucker. And none of y'all still got there. Not one of y'all. Damn. It's just, it's I don't understand. Excuse me. Yeah, the pimp analogy works though, because that's what it is. He's simply pimping those people out. It's really interesting to watch, to be honest with you. Whatever happened to Brightside Viking? According to Agent Proper, he's actually subbed to DSP on YouTube. So he's still around, I guess. I don't know. I think OIC essentially has the run of the mill either which way. To be honest, I don't think he'll ever. OIC will never hold the position Brightside Viking did. That right there is specifically to him. I don't think he'll ever. No one will ever take that away from Brightside Viking. He did too much. He put in way too much work. He frontlined for him and shit. Jesus Christ, Brightside Viking is still in a blood feud with fucking what's the dude's name? I mean, I know his real name, but I don't want to say that. Is it King of Pole? He's still beefing with that, or he's still. I don't know if he's beefing with him, but like he's still like that's still a thing, so to speak, right? Like that's still a thing. I mean, fucking A, bro. And how many years ago was that? Yeah, King of Pole. Like he's still. That's still a thing. After all these years. That's still a thing. So, fucking A. Fucking A, bro. That's just crazy. Fucking crazy. But no one will ever replace, or will ever replace Brightside Viking as far as I see it. That'll probably never happen. Because Phil will never have someone that he's willing to trust like that. And then keep in mind, that whole thing with King of Pole, or not King of Pole, that whole thing with Brightside Viking was because he did it for the memes. He initially supported DSP for the memes because he had watched one of the old Medicare videos, but he wasn't going by Medicare at the time. Was it Bright? I think he was going by DarksydePhil or some type of variation of it at that time. And Brightside Viking saw it, thought it was funny, and decided to go ahead and meme on Phil, and then ended up actually feeling bad for him, and then just stuck around. It's that's how Brightside Viking started. That's how that began. And there you go, Brightside Bob. Thank you. That was Brightside Bob. Big ups. And then the interesting thing about King of Pole is King of Pole was only there was essentially brought in by SOK to basically take out somebody else. And then he ended up getting into some type of beef with Brightside Viking. So that's how that situation is what that is. It's just wild, bro. That shit's wild. That's just wild. Every generation leaves their mark in some way, shape, or form in the DSP community. If you stick around long enough, you'd be surprised. You really are. And I think that's the reason why you can, when people are like, isn't there other people you can go after? Yeah, there's plenty of people to go after. But there's not a whole lot of people that I feel that are as interesting. The lore is what keeps me going, for the most part, to be honest with you. And I'm just waiting for the ride in. Because at the end of the day, if DSP doesn't stop, he's going to be stopped. So, you know what I'm saying? I just want to see how that ride goes and whatnot. And that might be one of the few times that it'll be breaking news, if you will. But his lore is incredible. Like, the amount of people who got dragged into the shit is insane. The amount of stuff that was going on is nuts. And keep in mind, I can only tell you essentially what was documented on either Kiwi Farms, I was gonna say Reddit, but that shit but after the bank leaks, that shit got nuked. And so all I can really tell you is from old videos and basically Kiwi Farms and what was left on SOK, or not SOK, on SRK before the main site got cut. That's pretty much it. If you want that deep lore, you got to go to people like Agent Proper, Almighty Tevin, clearly, Eddie B43, Secret Life. Actually, I saw the Secret Life video, by the way. The whole this is how you don't play with the Fall Guy shit. That was actually pretty fucking funny. that was actually really fucking funny. That was very fucking funny. To be honest, you guys should check that out if you haven't seen it. You have to go to those people for the deep lore, because you had Freedom Chat at that time, and then you had whatever was going on. Oh, Mr. Huff's stuff too. But you had Freedom Chat. You had the stuff that was going on on people's Skype, and then what people were doing on those on those early Discords. And I don't know anything about any of those stuff. I only know about what was been told to me. I didn't actually read any of it, and a lot of that may have not even been archived. So, yeah, you could kind of say that. So that's where you have to go. Like, the real, like, if you guys think that you guys have seen or heard some lore, there's shit out there. Like, the real, fuck gold dust, so to speak. The real gold mines, the real diamond mines, the real fucking bullion or silver veins and shit, the real shit is still out there. It's still out there. And it would take, even at the velocity of someone like Super Crazy or Snorpernell, or even myself, who do videos like that, or do videos kind of frequently, there would need to be like 20 of us to bring all that shit to you. It's not going to happen in my generation. It probably won't even happen in this current generation. It'll probably be the next generation of detractors who will dig deep for it. At least we'll hope. Like there's real gold out there. Like, it's still out there. Like, there's let me give you an example. So when SOK fell, Secret Life did a stream with two other guys. I can't think of their names at the moment. My apologies. But they were former members of SOK, and they were talking about certain stuff or whatever. They didn't go too deep about it, but there were snidbits in there. Like, there was, like, I think Outsider may have a mirror of that stream. It streams like 6 or 7 hours. There's some if you were ever well, if I ever decide to do a 24-hour stream, we'll do that. We'll go over that shit. But there's gold in that stream. There's certainly gold dust in that stream that leads to gold. If anybody could find it. There's a lot in there. There's a lot. The John and Howard video, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that actually soon, because I'm going to do that during the giveaway stream I'm doing. I don't know if it was the video after the Let's Endure. I'm not sure. This was I think this was definitely after SOK fell, though. And they were able to get two guys up there. One of those guys, I think, said he was he either was managing the SOK Discord, or he was managing one of the Skype groups. I can't remember. And he was kind of talking a little bit about, like, now I'm being vague about this because I can only remember so much about it. It's been a while since I've listened to it. essentially how Fred was running shit like an iron fist or with an iron fist, and how psychologically and emotionally a lot of those people got wore down. And I was really surprised that someone could exercise that much control. Let me actually rephrase that. Let me reword that. I was surprised that someone was able to impose their will on a bunch of other people simultaneously and no one had nothing to say about it. I was really shocked when I heard that. I was stunned. And we're talking about grown, with all due respect, grown men who were married. You know what I'm saying? Who had families and shit. And they were letting this guy that they didn't know basically have this much control over them. It was something to behold, to say the very least. It was different. It was way different. Like, you know what I'm saying? It puts things into perspective. You know what I'm saying? It puts things into perspective. And I would have never, when I go back and I think about when I started, and I look at my friends who were here when I started doing this and how we used to laugh about all that bullshit and everything and how much fun we had about it. I never looked at it as a power or a control thing. I thought it was really just supposed to be all of us here having a good time. I would think that's how SOK initially started. And then somewhere down the line, it became DSP. This is my own opinion, by the way. DSP got boring, so how can I entertain myself? Okay, the people around me are going to entertain me. And that's when dudes eat all this crazy mashed potatoes. This guy eat poo. This guy do this, do that. And it was like a form of hazing, but it was also a way of just exercising control. How far can I push you guys? And how much are you guys willing to take? How much are you willing to do for me? But we could save that for a whole nother stream where we can where if you want my actual take on that shit, because that just gets into dark waters, like very dark waters when with that. Now I think about it, I think top 10 worst moments 2017 is going to be the next thing up on the Fight Club channel, and that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough, for sure. The fans that are still dedicated to them is actually still, even after all these years, is still rather remarkable, to be honest with you. Because some of the same people who say, I wish they were back, you find them over there on a Tevin stream all the time being big ups like nothing ever happened. And weren't some of you guys the same people cheering for when Tevin got doxxed? Weren't you some of the same people who were like, yeah, no detractor should make any profit and down with everybody? Isn't that what some of you guys actually believed in, and yet you want to go ahead and cheer now? If you guys are willing to change allegiances like that, then who are you really loyal to? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, that gets rough. And then, and well, like I said, we can talk more about that later. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even then, we still didn't end. I will end the SOK conversation off with this. We still never even found out. We never really found out what was the bulk of what they were doing. Because the one guy who knows was willing to give everything to Medicare, and Medicare didn't want to speak on it. And the reason why I think Medicare was not willing to talk about it is because he already knew. He already had an idea of what they were already doing. So there was no point in confirming it. So, I mean, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. So, it is what it is. And that's why, as anybody comes into this community, right? Like, if you don't like if you're not into their takes, or if you're not completely agreeing with them, or whatever the case may be, so be it. You know what I'm saying? But everybody should have the right to express themselves, and however which way they do it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. I'm not saying you have to support everybody. You don't have to. And no one's telling you to. No one's telling you to watch every bit of fucking detractor content out there. That's a lot. No one's saying that you have to, as I said with Red, I fuck with Red's content. You know what I'm saying? And I'd like to see him get the support that I feel that everybody should have. I want to see everybody do well. If you don't agree with some of what someone else is doing, that's fine. That's cool. But running that person out or running these people out because you feel like they don't fall in line with your thought process or anything else is just getting silly. It just doesn't need to happen at the end of the day. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like let's try not to make the mistakes that those who came before us made. You know what I mean? Every generation of detractor, troll, hater, and critic should be better than the generation that came before them. That's how it should be. At the end of the day, you don't have to agree with what the next man's saying or whatnot. And yes, there should be a general understanding that, hey, we don't need to push the narrative. We don't need to fake anything. We don't need to do any of that bullshit. Phil will hang himself. If you got to lead on some information, then by means go for it. Do we need to necessarily break the law to do it? No. I don't want to see anybody go to fucking prison or jail or anything over trying to get something over on Phil. It's not worth it. It's entertaining, yes, but it's not worth it. I'd never want to see that. You know? And so people took some risks. So when you guys think about these leaks, at least the financial ones, please take into mind that someone took a risk to do that. Someone put in a lot of time to make that happen for you. Just, you know what I'm saying? Keep that in mind. I think it was more than what was needed, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, this generation of detractors, they want him pinned to the fucking wall. You know what I'm saying? As best he can. We never got any true confirmance on Hitler's death. So with Adolf Hitler, they want to make sure that they got the body, they got the smoking gun, they got let's see, it was Ava Braun. So what do we call Catherine? I don't know. Thinking Catherine Bronsworth actually kind of works a little bit. Or Kathleen Bronsworth. I don't know. Let me think about that. But the point being is that they want them pinned. Like, we want them pinned in. If we're going to catch him in the Gowdy bunker, we got to make sure they want to make sure that they have everything on him. And I think it's done in a way that it's unique in how it's being done. It's unique in the way people dunk on Phil these days. It's different. It's different but familiar. And I think that's a good thing. Catherine Von Braun. I like that. I think that's what it comes down to. And like I said, I encourage thinking outside the box. I just don't want anybody to do anything illegal to make it happen. It's just not worth. It's not worth it. I mean, like, dude, I want to catch. Like, you know, what I'm saying, do I want every theory that's out there on Phil to come to fruition, so to speak, if it makes sense? I just don't want anybody to get arrested to make it happen. I don't want anybody to jeopardize their livelihood to get him. You know what I'm saying? He's not worth that. You know what I'm saying? If you can catch him on cold hard facts, then by all means. But not in a way that anybody's fucking up their life. I don't give a fuck about Phil's well-being. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm worried more about the person who's willing to take that risk. Because when you're ready, I'll tell you like this: when you cross that line, there's no going back. So let me remix that for you. When you cross that line, what's the next man or woman willing to cross? You know, you see what I'm saying? Like, all you're doing is we're setting a precedent that's gonna continue to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, when people used to talk about DSP's finances, you could only coincide those finances with what DSP told you. Then, as later generations came along, you had people who were willing to actually go through and track super chats, track his tips, track this, track that. Now you have an individual who is devoting a large amount of time to giving you spreadsheets with dates and correlating that with what their spending habits are. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the research is continuing to move forward. That's a good thing. But like anything else, people are going to be willing to push that line. You have to. You know what I'm saying? You really can't go back now. So, like, for example, people are like, oh, well, when's PayPal going to end up having a leak? Eventually. sooner than later. So once that vulnerability is put out there, then who's willing to go after that? Who's willing to chase that? You know what I'm saying? And then once that comes out, then what is DSP going to do? So, you know what I'm saying? That it's just continuing. It's continuing this cycle or this narrative. Nah, you don't. You don't necessarily want gout on your hands. But then again, I can't remember who coined it. But once you weigh into the abyss, into this gouty abyss, I should say. They didn't call it the gouty abyss. But all right, let me just remix something that was said before. When you step into the gouty abyss, no one walks away clean. No one walks away clean. It's just by the nature of it. Yes, he does have multiple PayPals. No, I agree. He has at least 2. He might even have 3. No. No. No, I know that's who originally quoted it. But it was a detractor who actually said something about it might have been Fred Fox, to be honest with you. I think he said that anybody who deals with DSP doesn't come away from it clean. I think that was close to the original quote, and he's not wrong. So as a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You deal with this long enough, you can't wash it all away. No, I'm not accepting any financial anything financial at the moment, man. I appreciate it though, but no, I'm not accepting anything at the moment. Trust me, there's other detractors out there who deserve your financial support more than I do. I think. Paul, sooner than later, okay, how do I word this? I've seen people, if you've seen enough DSP lore, right? I've seen people get engulfed by this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think they meant to, but people really got sucked into this. Even I have to some extent, dude. Like, shit, man, I got fucking hundreds of hours of fucking, of content, you know what I'm saying, shitting on this dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not swinging for the fences or anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it is what it is. At the same time, and I've said some brutal stuff. I've said some absolutely brutal stuff. I've said some brutal stuff that I saw screenshots where a group of detractors were like, well, unless the screenshot was faked, that were like, yeah, he's going way too far with that. Maybe they're right. Maybe I did go too far. I said it. I'm sticking by it. There's only one instance that I said something that wasn't meant to be said in the way it was, because I ended up crossing over between Phil and Kat a little too quickly. But I've said some absolutely brutal shit by him about Phil, and I've meant it. And most of it came to fruition. Most of it still will. At the same time, one day I'm going to walk away from all this. I'm not carrying him with me when I walk away. You know what I'm saying? And I think that should be said for any detractor. Whenever you pass this on to the next person, not me, other detractors like Agent Proper will have something to pass on to another generation. I don't. I'm kind of that outlier, if you will. But when I'm ready to step away from the game, basically, and I'm ready to hang up my jersey, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Especially when his end comes. After that, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to... That's the end. That's essentially the end of it for me. Like, the content will still always be there, but, once I'm done, I'm done. You know what I mean? It's no semi-retirement or anything like that. Once I'm done with the game, I'm done with the game. But at the same time, I'm going to see it through to the end. And I don't need to carry that weight with me when I'm done. You know what I'm saying? As a child, I played with my toys and whatnot, and I enjoyed myself. But as a man, when it was time to put the toys away, I put the toys away. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's something that we should all essentially we should all consider, you know what I'm saying, when our time is up as it pertains to this. That's how it should be looked at. No, Phil will never ever stop streaming. As long as there's an easy way for him to do something, he'll always do it. That's his curse. I don't know if it weighs. The way I say it, it might make it sound like it. I don't know if it weighs on me like that, because to that narrative, it would have to be like, okay, that's his downfall is essentially all I think about. And it's not. If nothing else, as time has gone on, it's almost pity, but it's not pity, because I know better. Because giving Phil pity enables him. And by enabling him, you're empowering him. And I'm not willing to do that. I've already seen people do that. So that's just not how that's going to play out. But as time has gone on, I've watched the person who I always believed was never a worthy opponent prove himself not to be a worthy opponent. I've seen people who have come into my comment section at one time or another and try to defend him and be just as weak as he is, if not weaker. I find that to be unbecoming of anybody who defends DSP. Like, if you don't have a solution to make him better, then really you have nothing to say to me on why I think he's becoming worse. Now, at the end of the day, it's freedom of speech, and I'll let you have the right to say what you want to say. The thing is that you can't. The freedom of speech that I give you here, let's reword that. The freedom of speech that I allow you here, he can't give you over there. And that's the difference. And most of you don't, when I say most of you, some of those people, you don't even realize that. And that's how deep his hooves are into you. And in a lot of ways, I pity you more than anything. Not because you don't see things the way I see it. It's because you don't even really understand the gravity of your own situation at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to. And that's all right. At the end of the day, as time goes on, eventually you will see it. Maybe. Hopefully. But even still. And yet again, as it pertains to the next group of detractors, because they're going to come along eventually anyway. Same concept, same depth and style. Laugh at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy your moments with it. You know what I'm saying? If you get cool with people, you find, you know what I'm saying? You share opinions or whatever, great. You know what I'm saying? Don't be engulfed by this. I saw good people get taken over by their obsession with numbers, meaning subs and views. I saw good people fall over having a different opinion than other people. I saw other people, or I've seen other people, I should say, who felt the need to shit on other people just because they felt like they could. That's not what this was supposed to be about. But, I mean, this is, you react to this the way you see it, I guess. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen detractors who, I don't know. I've seen some silly shit. I've seen some very silly shit. Just stuff that could have been avoided. You know what I'm saying? A misunderstanding, whatever the case may be. No, actually, I wasn't talking about Mannix in particular, but I do actually remember, because I just thought about Lip Jan and Base Oslo, and then that kind of brought that back. That didn't need to happen either. I don't even know what happened with that. I jumped on Twitter one day, and he said that the only detractors that were good were these 2 or 3 people or whatever, because they actually had personality, and everybody else was copying everybody else. And I was like, okay, I guess. And then once he got challenged on it, it just turned into a mess. And then he said something about other people were talking shit about him. I don't know what happened. I don't know. That should have been something that a conversation should have been able to clear up. I know Agent Proper had reached out to him to try to figure out what the situation is. If you really want to follow up more on that story, you can ask him. But, I mean, it is what it is. He felt what he felt. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is, I guess. I have no problem with you using Phil as a stepping stone for something else. I don't have a problem with that. And to be honest with you, I think you should. To be honest with you, all of this should be considered practice for some type of other content that you're really passionate about that you want to do later on down the line. What I do take an issue with is you shitting on the very people who have supported you to get to where you're at. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying what he did was the equivalent to, what's that guy's name? This is during the Kumite days. He had a beef with Medicare because Medicare said that he was turning his back on his core audience, and he thought Baked Alaska. I'm not saying what Mannix did was the equivalent to what Baked Alaska did. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that what Mannix was going through, a conversation could have cleared that up. What Baked Alaska did, well, that destroyed everything he ever built, if you will. So it's something to take into place. Yes, I think DSP is very much a training dummy. I do think he's very much a fucking training dummy. Yeah, actually, you know, it's funny enough. I got like 15 videos in the clip about Dragon Ball. And we just haven't uploaded it yet. I have to actually shoot it to the editor and then it'll get uploaded. And mainly, to be honest with you, they're like 10 or 15 minute videos of me talking about like Golden Freezer and how I think his golden form is actually just a derivative of the energy, of the Super Saiyan energy that Goku gave to him on the planet Namek. Stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've got all kinds of just fucking theory videos and shit that I've written out and actually did. Yeah, I thought Mannix was funny. His rants were really funny. I thought they were short and sweet. I never talked to him or anything like that. He probably wouldn't have liked me very much anyway, to be honest. But I thought his videos were short and sweet. And, you know what I'm saying? They were to the point. I thought they were really funny. I actually said, I think I made the recommendation under one of his videos that instead of the 3 or 4 minutes the videos used to be, that if he made them like 5 to 7 minutes. But, you know, he's not, you know, he knew what he was doing, so can't be mad at it. And he went hard during that whole what was it? Last of Us 2. He was going hard in the paint on that shit. I was watching that shit pretty religiously. His coverage for a while. He was going at Cuckman a lot. He was going at Cuckman a lot. So, I don't know if he's going to follow, I don't know if he was around or if he ever was watching anything when Gamergate was a thing. But since they're trying to do some type of bullshit show on that, it'll be interesting to see what his coverage is on that one if he does it. Yeah, I never watched all of his content. You know what I'm saying? I watched a lot of his DSP stuff and I watched his Last of Us 2 thing. There was a lot of people who milked that Last of Us 2 thing, though. There was a lot of people who were pulling whatever they could out of that. And I can't blame him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as long as he gets if it gets him to where he needs to go, as long as it doesn't define him, I think he's fine with it. But that's kind of up to him. I'm not sure what his motives were. But some of those early Last of Us 2 videos he did, bangers. Jesus Christ, he was destroying them on that bullshit. God damn. So I'll give him that. I will give him that. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that I hope a lot of detractors end up moving on. Well, when they're ready to move on, I should say, and they find something that they like to do. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I hope they really do. Yeah, a lot of the OG detractors kind of step in and out when they find something that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you. And myself, I think I've always been grateful to the OGs because one, a lot of their content, right, filled in a lot of gaps. Because if you think about it, 2015 is essentially a dead year. So there's a lot of shit that you can't find anymore, or you have to really go to some obscure channels to find that shit. So that right there is essentially a dead year for the most part. So having a lot of the OG guys around who were able to get snidbits of stuff really helps, to be honest. DSP was an idiot, though. He should have never deleted those videos. I think Street Fighter V is... I don't know if I'd say it is noob friendly. It's not as complicated as people make it sound. I think you can step into it and you can have a good time. I think if even though most people would say it is the most noob friendly, I don't know if I'd say it's noob friendly, but I think it's an easy thing to step into. To be honest with you, you'll get out of it what you put into it. To be honest. And really, a lot of people say it's all about your setups anyway. Like once you get the hit, essentially it's about getting in that first hit and being able to capitalize off of it, depending on how you look at it. But I personally think it's a fun game to get into. If I had to choose between that and Street Fighter 4, I would definitely pick Street Fighter 4 though. But I think Street Fighter 5 is definitely fun for what it is. I think it's something that if we were going to do like a detractor community type thing, I think it could work. I think it's accessible enough that people can have a good time with it. And hopefully it would help lay down the groundwork for people who may be interested in getting into Street Fighter to have an easier way of easing into Street Fighter 6. I would hope. And I mean, not just so people can stream snipe Phil. I mean, just for the actual fun of it. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Third Strike's fun too. And definitely, at Free Marvel 2, I think, I hope it's successful, even though that interview with that developer sounds kind of sketchy. I don't know how far that's going to go. But if it does become a thing, I want to see CVS2 online. Like, I mean, outside of Fightcade. I mean, I want to see like an actual console release for CVS2 because I think CVS2 is an amazing game that a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to play, especially online. And why we haven't had a cross collection yet makes no sense to me. I thought we would have already had a CVS2 or a Capcom versus SNK collection by now. Because it's what? CVS 1, CVS 2, and then Capcom versus SNK? We should have had that by now. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was fun for what it was, and then it got screwed over when people found out that the extra characters were already on the disc. And then, excuse me, it got further fucked up when people, excuse me a second. Holy shit. Ow, help! Ow!
One city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Yeah. If Chappelle moved to Ghana to find his peace and I'm rolling where the service always roaming, I'm packing my bags and going. It's a challenging act, it's a balancing act. Visit beautiful places, it's more out here than the trap.
Oh my god. Oh shit, my bad. Boy should have had some water next to him. God damn, that was about to be ruthless. I didn't think I was gonna make it. Oh, hold on a second.
Connection might meet a Joshua tree, and it's been bothering me. Too many wavy women gotta.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Holy shit, that was close. I thought DSP was gonna come in here and try to murder me. Oh shit, that caught me off guard. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm sorry. I just need some water. What was I talking about? Oh, the Street Fighter Cross Tekken reality show they had. Cross Counter, I think is what it was called. And the fiasco that happened with that, that's essentially what killed that game, to be honest with you. Oh my God, excuse me. Yeah, so for any of you guys who remember your FGC history, that's essentially what killed that one. That killed the shit out of it. Holy shit. Yeah, dude. Fucking DSP and Swaggins almost caught me. Almost caught your boy slipping. They almost caught your boy slipping. Oh shit. Hey man, those snorts can be dangerous, Raven. Those snorts can be dangerous. Yeah, that was yeah, that whole situation with, I think the girl's name was Miranda. I think. That shouldn't have happened. But see, people forget too. Not to say what happened to her was definitely wrong. It was foul, for sure. Excuse me. The problem, another problem though, is if she wanted to quit, right? I understand that. If she wanted to quit, then fine, quit the competition or the whole event or whatever the case may be. But people forget that she ended up screwing over another competitor who had nothing to do with that harassment bullshit. He ended up getting fucked over too, in that situation because she didn't want to quit. So she essentially was throwing matches, which ended up causing that guy to get fucked too. We can go over that sometime. I got videos lined. I got a bunch of the videos compiled up about that. If anybody wants to ever hear the story on it. That and like, what else did I come across lately? When Noel Brown punched, bionic punched that dude in New York. I found like the 7-minute video on that shit. I haven't seen that shit in a long ass time. that guy had a broken leg and Noel Brown punched the shit out of that dude. Excuse me. The FGC had a bunch of funny ass moments. They had a shitload of funny ass moments. That shit was crazy. Low Tier God's his match with Viscant. His beef with Broly Legs. He had an argument with somebody else too over something silly. He's always beefing with someone. Did I ever read his? No, I don't think I've ever read. No, I don't think he ever read the. No, I don't think I've ever read his Quit Longer. I do not think I have. I'll definitely look it up though. I will definitely look it up and try to find it. Wow. No, I didn't see that. I have to look that up. I will have to look that up. I saw when he went against Punisher though. Low Tier God did, and he went like 51-0 or some shit. I remember watching that. That shit was brutal. I didn't watch it when it was live. I watched it like a year or so after the fact. That was harsh. Yeah, his name was Punisher. He was a Chung Lee specialist. Yeah, he beat the shit out of Low Tier God. Now, interesting story about that too. Low Tier God actually got a lot of respect for that because a better man would have quit. A better man would have quit. Holy shit. Because that was so bad that the guy was literally like telegraphing his moves in that match. He was legitimately just tearing Low Tier God up. That was rough. But like I said, a better man would have quit. It kind of reminds me of the videos on Mr. Huffstuff's channel where DSP is losing that money match and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and you hear someone in the back saying, "Phil, just give it up. A good man knows when to quit." I always thought about that when I saw that Low Tier God video. I was like, God damn, dude. That shit was all over Reddit and everything. Holy shit. Yeah, 50. He ate each and every one of those losses too. And the thing is like as time went on, you saw how basically Low Tier God progressively just gave up. It was really, if you ever want to see a man lose his soul, that's the video to watch. That's the video to watch. And yes, and like I said, I don't know if I coined the phrase that DSP is a walking ATM, but he was a walking ATM to the FGC. For sure. He was a walking ATM. He was free money. He was free fucking money. You bet your ass he was. He was free fucking money. Like, you know what I'm saying? DSP would talk all that hot shit on SRK. He showed up to that tournament and they were literally gangbanging him his wallet. They were gangbanging the fuck out of his wallet. Holy shit. You know that meme that you guys see with the seven or eight black dudes and whatnot, and you have that chick on that white couch? That was DSP's wallet all day. Getting demolished. Holy shit. That's exactly what happened. I don't know what the desert. I'm not sure. That's actually a good question. That's a decent question, Paul. That's a decent question. Yes, Derek would know that meme. He would definitely know that meme, or he would probably know her name. Yeah. So, Jesus Christ, it was a mess. It was a mess. All right, people. You know what? Wow, this was much longer than I thought it was. Hey, I'm not gonna hold y'all up. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for coming out. When the Low Tier God Wings of Redemption podcast drops, whoever it is who posts it first or whatnot, I will grab it there, and we will come back. We will do a stream on it. Have a good time. We'll have a good laugh. It's a thing. Oh, really, Declan? Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up. We'll call that some side research. Some research for research purposes. All right, guys. Let me let you guys go with your day. Like I said, big ups for coming by the stream. I very much appreciate it. I don't know if there was anybody else streaming or whatnot. I didn't mean to pull you guys from them or whatnot. But enjoy the rest of your evening or early morning, whatever the case may be, or morning and whatnot. And I'll see you guys. There might not be any videos for the rest of this week, but they might end up coming out like the week after that. Because like I said, I got a lot that I still need to try to catch up on. And there might be a stream later on this week over here, at the very least. And like I said, I have the thing up there. Check out Red and whatnot. Like I said, I like his content. Maybe you guys will like it too. If you do, sub. Like I said, the more detractors we can get out there and we can have support for, the better. What is Glow Gang? And like I said, I'll catch you guys on Twitch eventually and whatnot. I need to link my channel there so you guys can see it. But like I said, I'll see you guys when I see you. And let's go ahead and play you guys out. Let's go with some Lauryn Hill. All right, I'll see you guys later.
One city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Yeah. If Chappelle moved to Ghana to find his peace in a rolling where the service always roaming, I'm packing my bags and going. It's a challenging act, it's a balancing act. Visit beautiful places, it's more out here than the trap. Houses in Long Island, they always found him. House in the South, a nigga barely got out. Sunny LA, remember calls with Dr. Dre. He told me, don't let the palm trees fool you, nigga, be safe. Me and my higher self, we often would speak. Somehow we lost the connection, might meet a Joshua tree. And it's been bothering me. Too many wavy women, gotta log out of IG. Can't be my age DMing, no kidding. It's hard to move like a civilian. I write the truth cause I live it, not like you musical niggas. We did it big and they bigots. They rather shoot than write tickets. What it feel like to go get it, what it feel like to go miss it. In one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody. My dog bought a plane, said let's go to Paris. That's where baguettes are from, French bread that's long and narrow. I like the other definition, rectangular carrots. The concept of the song is rather esoteric. This girl said in Grenada we should go get married. Broke the meaning down of the Virgin Mary. And you got your own place. My favorite part of the night when you text me that you made it home safe. I'm contemplating at the home base how I'm used to breakfast in the ghetto sipping OJ. That's a picture right there, a moment in time. Before anybody wanted a photo of mine. Before the internet energy and social decline destroyed the vibe, fooling us with the headlines, keeping us blind. Vultures eat you alive. Take heed to the signs. Wishing I find one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody.
All my time is spent focused on my freedom now. Why would I join them when I know that I could beat them now? They put their words on me, and they can eat them now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. They tried to box me out while taking what they want from me. I spent too many years living too uncomfortably, making room for people who didn't like the labor, but wanted the spoils, greedy, selfish behavior. Now let me give it to you balanced and with clarity. I don't need to turn myself into a parody. I don't do the shit you do for popularity. They clearly didn't understand when I said I get out apparently. My awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all complaining about my lateness. Now it's illegal for someone to walk in greatness. They want the same, but they don't take risks. Now the world will get to see its own reflection, and the anointed can pursue their own direction. And if you're wrong and you're too proud to hear correction, walk into the hole you dug yourself, fuck a projection. See me in my freedom taking all my land back. They said a lot against me thinking I just stand back. I got my legs beneath me, I got my hands back. A lot of people sabotaged, they couldn't stand that. I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world cause you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, the ditch you dig for them you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with. Pride and ego over love and truth is fuck reckless. Y'all niggas got a death wish, the stupid leaves me breathless.
Some place to be. Yeah, ain't ducking nothing. Just might have to build my own city where y'all need a real nigga passport to enter. Miss Hill, we ain't going nowhere. They gonna have to deal with us. Make them uncomfortable.